What is up, Wolverine Nation? It is me, TJ Ronin. I am your host tonight. John Diadamo is away for the Tuesday show, so you will have me as your pilot and leader of Michigan Wolverines Live. So shout out to everybody watching the show, joining the chat from all of our platforms, from Twitter to Twitch to obviously YouTube. And I just want to give a shout out to all of our Michigan faithful who have been holding strong through these tough weeks recently. I think we got to keep, moving forward, taking it week by week, and hopefully this show can be that for you guys. We're on the bye week this week, so I want to look at some things at the mid-season point. So the topics I want to cover today are: can the season be saved? We're going to discuss it. We'll go over it. We'll find out if I want to hear what you guys think also. So please, we put up a poll. Let me know what you guys think. Also throw it in the chat if you guys think the season can be saved. Another thing I want to discuss is our current defensive issues, because there's been some statistics going around on social media that I want to highlight and talk about. I think it'd be very good for us to dive a little deeper on. And then lastly, I think it's time for some mid-season grades. I'd like to give you guys my opinion on what I think is going on from not only the offense, defense, special teams, but we're going to break down the coaches as well. So we're going to get into it. Again, anyone who is new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. We're currently at 8,200 subscribers right now. We're just keep climbing. We're working on beating Ohio State. So if anyone can subscribe, if you are unsubscribed, we greatly appreciate that. And then I want to also give a shout out to all of our members. You will see them scrolling at the bottom of the screen. That is Michigan Nation. We are proud of them. They are very good contributors to all of us, and we greatly appreciate all of them. And then lastly, if you guys cannot watch us on video, if you cannot watch us on YouTube, we are on audio. We are on Apple, Spotify, Audible, and Amazon. Get us on there. I know YouTube makes it sometimes difficult for people to watch when you're on the go. So give us a follow and rate and review if you guys can. We greatly appreciate that as well. So let's get into it. Can the season be saved? So let me know, guys, what you guys think. I want to hear your guys' opinion on that. Looking at the poll right now, it's currently 80-20. We'll see where it is as the show goes on. But here's what I want to discuss about that. We know that we've had some tough games in terms of USC. That was actually a good game. I'm talking about Texas, and then obviously our recent Washington game. But that said, we've also had some moments, I would say. I would say the USC game was a moment. Now, did we look a little limited offensively? Absolutely. But then I believe, and you guys can let me know what you guys think in the comments, when Jack Tuttle entered the game against Washington, we saw an offense with some life, right? We saw an offense that was able to move the ball. We saw an offense that was able to come down from 14 points, right? Did anyone think that our offense was capable of coming back from 14 points against Washington? Because it looked pretty bleak, right? But with Jack Tuttle and with some creativity offensively, we saw a team that was able to obviously come back and make it and take the lead. We were up 17-14, guys. So obviously offensively we were capable. What really let us down in that game, even though I do know the offense stalled a little bit, is the defense. The defense let us down. And the bright spot on that is that's where the most of our talent is. So when I look at our remaining schedule, we got Illinois, Michigan State, Oregon, Indiana, Northwestern, and Ohio State. We have some tough games, guys. Like Illinois is going to be another tough game for us. They're playing very well this year. They're ranked 23rd in the nation. It is at Illinois. So we're going to find out. This is going to be another one where we're going to find out, what is Sharon made of? What is this coaching staff made of? Now, I know many of us have our conclusions on what we think. I don't even know if conclusions, but I think many of us are leaning a certain direction on what we think about this coaching staff. Certain coaches on the coaching staff, obviously we're still going to remain in observation mode and see where it goes. But, I think if they can make adjustments, make changes, specifically Wink Martindale, and I'm gonna get into offense and defense here. I do think Michigan can make a little run here, and let me explain what I mean by that. If Michigan can go to Illinois and build the offense around Jack Tuttle, like we saw when he first entered the game, I believe that Michigan can at least be competitive offensively. We can at least drive the ball. We can at least score, right? Now the issues fall on defense. Can Wink Martindale adapt to the college game? That's the question, because right now he is not. And we will, in our next topic, we are going to talk about our issues defensively, because there's some very glaring numbers out there that are, I would say, um, awful, absolutely awful. And we'll get into those. But, you know, after Illinois, we have Michigan State. I personally believe we are still a better team than Michigan State. So I see a potential 2-0 run here. And then we have a major test on our hands. We have Oregon, number 3 Oregon. And I think that game is going to be the game that decides the fate of the season. I don't think it's Illinois. I don't think it's Michigan State. I think we can win both those games. I actually believe Michigan can beat Illinois, beat Michigan State, putting us to 6-2 on the year. The season is still alive. And then the Oregon game is going to be the game where we find out if the season can be saved or not. That is where we will truly have our answer. And then after, obviously, the Oregon game, if we can get that W, then we have another big test, and that's Indiana. What Kurt Signetti is doing in Indiana with Rourke at quarterback, who's playing absolutely out of this world. If you look at his previous history when he was at Ohio, completely different quarterback. I mean, not completely different, but definitely playing at a level you would not expect, considering his career, track record, right? So what Kurt Signetti's doing at Indiana is absolutely amazing. I recommend, we've talked about in the show, if you are not paying attention to Indiana, pay attention to Indiana. Look at how that team is coached. That is a well-coached team. Indiana's a test. I mean, they're so well-coached, guys. They're ranked 18th. Indiana is, I believe, in their first 6-0 start since like the 70s, or I don't even know, a long-ass time ago, before I was born. Indiana is doing it right now. So they're a team to definitely be aware of. And that's a road game. Right. So that's where we are there. Northwestern, I think we get that dub. And then we have the Ohio State game. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. Ohio State looks like one of the 2 to 3 best teams in the nation, especially after Alabama took a ridiculous loss to Vanderbilt, after Georgia has played the way they played, with the Kentucky game, and then obviously the Alabama game. And then, Tennessee just lost to Arkansas, I believe. So you're seeing a lot of top teams not playing at an elite level right now. And that's one of the things, too, this year that I think does help Michigan. What you see this year in college football is parity. You see a lot of parity. You see teams beating teams that would not have done that in previous years. Okay, that gap of 3 to 4 teams is gone now. It's gone. That's not how college football is anymore, which gives me hope for Michigan, because Michigan has talent. The issue with Michigan right now, it's not that there isn't talent outside of granite quarterback, we understand, and wide receiver. Those are 2 positions we are lacking. Everything else we have. And if you scheme correctly and you put your players in the best position to succeed, and if Jack Tuttle can give us average quarterback play, we can win. We have a good enough team to be, in my opinion, still a playoff threat. Now, I didn't say we're going to make the playoffs. I'm not guaranteeing anything like that. I'm saying we can still be a threat as long as the coaching staff and players get it together. So in my opinion, I think we go 2-0 in the next 2. I think Oregon's going to be the one that's going to test us. Not test us, but it's going to give us, obviously it's going to test us, but it's going to give us the reality of the situation. If we handle our business against Illinois, Michigan State, Oregon's gonna let us all know if this season is truly over or not. And what I mean by over, and there's gonna be people in the chat, they're gonna say, well, we can still make a bowl game, or we can still win 7-8 games. What I mean over is, I mean Big Ten championship, I mean playoff contention, I mean making a run in the playoffs. I'm talking about the hopes and goals we had going into the season. Now, I know a lot of Michigan fans because we've gotten some flack. Not a lot. There is a contingency of Michigan fans uh, in our fan base who think that even though the way it looks, you know, visually on the field, that we are too harsh on Michigan. But I don't think that's true. And some people have questioned our fandom. That's absolutely in my opinion, insane because we bleed blue. John went to Michigan; he's an alumni. I've been a Michigan fan since a child. So the point being is, we are objective, we are honest, and we are critical of our team because we want it to be the best it can be. Because we know Michigan can be the best. We know this. We are the leaders and best. We have all the resources in the world. There's no reason Michigan should not be a annual top 10 team in college football, and to be honest, top 5. There's no reason. The only thing that gets in Michigan's way is Michigan, not Ohio State. Ohio State's not who gets in Michigan's way. Michigan gets in Michigan's way. And that's how we feel on this channel. And that's why we want the best for this university. Back to the topic, though, and to give you my conclusion, I do think the season can be saved. But for it to be saved, Michigan has to do what what is required to become a winning team again. And that is a well-coached, sound, fundamental team. This team misses tackles. This team is very leaky on defense, which we're going to go over in the next topic. This team has shown some creativity, and this is what blows my mind too. Offensively, there are times where you will see some creativity with the offense. You will see guys in motion. You will see 2 running back sets. You will see offensive plays like the double flea flicker they did. I liked seeing it. I liked seeing the curveball that the offense was throwing. But then they get away from their script, or they lose themselves, or it's almost like the moment becomes too big for these coaches, and they just go back to, oh, run it up the A gap, or let's do an outside run, or let's do a drop back and see if our quarterback can make a play rolling a certain direction. And it's like, and then of course the wide receivers can't get separation, which is a whole different discussion. But that said, you can create separation through scheme. You can utilize your players in a better way, and they have not done that yet. Now we are on a bye week. This is the opportunity to self-reflect, to self-scout. This is what teams do right now. They self-scout. And I fully expect Michigan to be very hard on themselves, very critical of themselves. And I do think Michigan is going to come out of this weekend, or this bye week, and make adjustments in the right direction. And I hope one of the adjustments, which we're going to get to in the next topic, is defensively, because in my opinion, the defense is what let us down against Washington. So again, my conclusion is, can the season be saved? I absolutely do think it can, but it's up to Michigan to do what is necessary to save the season. And that is coach this team correctly, put it in the best position to succeed, and damn it, be a more fundamentally sound team in all areas. And I mean, look, you got to catch balls that are thrown to you. Okay. You got to tackle. You cannot have miscommunication on the back end when you're 6 weeks into the season. You can't have this. Like, this is the type of stuff that happens in week 1 or week 2, and then you get it corrected. There's a lot of, and this is, again, it shows the signs of an inexperienced staff. But it is up to Michigan to make these adjustments. If they do make these adjustments, yes, I believe Michigan can still remain competitive in the Big Ten and at least save the year. Now, is it a national championship year? No, it's not a national championship year. It's just not. But can it be a year where we can still fight for that playoff spot, especially considering what we're seeing in the college football landscape? Absolutely. You just saw Alabama lose to Vanderbilt. Guys, I want you guys to think about this. Could you imagine losing to Vanderbilt? You know, like, imagine if Michigan did that. Shoot, that'd be insane. So yes, the season is still alive. There's a lot of teams losing to, like, I think it's going to get even more crazy, to be honest with you. I think a lot of these top teams are going to, I think because the parity is so great in college football right now, you're going to keep seeing these games where you're seeing the top teams fall off. Now, I do think Texas, I do think Ohio State, we're going to find out this weekend with Ohio State. They got a very big matchup with, I believe, with Oregon this weekend. Yes, they do. Okay, so that is this weekend. So we're going to find out a lot between Oregon and Ohio State this weekend. That should, Ohio State's going to get tested. We're going to see what they're about. They have yet to be truly tested by a very good team. We're going to find out what they're about. So, yeah. So, my conclusion for that is take a deep breath, Michigan Nation. Let's see what they can do out of the bye, and then let's go into Illinois and find out what this team is about, because we're really going to find out if this coaching staff has what it takes to make improvements and get better. All right, guys. So let's get to our first super chat of the night. It is Elijah Bowman, $4.99. Do you think U of M will give Sharon Moore a Luke Fickell treatment if he goes 6-6? Ohio State was not having that. Dan Lanning is the dream hire. No, I don't. Here's why I don't. Well, here's why I'm quite confident. Is one, currently our AD is Ward Manuel. He does not have it in him to be a proactive, aggressive athletic director. He is a sit back and wait and observe athletic director. He's very reactive, not proactive in anything he does. So no, that in itself is the reason why. The other reason why is because Michigan threw that 5-year contract at him after the Texas loss, essentially securing Sharon Moore's job status at Michigan for at least 2 years. I would say minimally 2 years. So we're with Sharon Moore for another year. Now it is up to Sharon Moore to get aggressive with his coaching hires and fire Wink Martindale. He's got to go. Potentially find a new OC as well. Definitely get a new wide receivers coach. Likely get a new linebackers coach. Those seem to be the biggest areas of red flag, but we will get into those when we give our mid-season grades. But thank you, Elijah Bowman. Dan Lanning, and speaking of Dan Lanning, I don't think he's leaving Oregon. He has everything he possibly could need there. He has a booster who is willing to fund him like an NFL team, because he wants to see a national championship before he passes. I'm not mad at Phil Knight at all, because if I was in his position, I'd do the same damn thing. So it is what it is. I don't think Dan Lanning's, I'll tell you the name that I'm playing with, even though I know it's outside of Michigan's culture, I think I want Lane Kiffin. I think Lane Kiffin fits this era of college football. I think he navigates it well. I think with Michigan's resources and brand, Lane Kiffin could build a very competitive team in the Big Ten. The only thing I'd like to see with Lane Kiffin, if that were at all a possibility, is he's got to make sure he gets the right defensive coordinator, I would say. The other name that I've been playing with is Curt Cignetti. I think Curt Cignetti is impressive, but I also want to keep the door open for other options, because we're at the point now. Like it's hard to think about future coaches, because I know Sharon's not going anywhere for a year, but I'm just going to keep my eye on it. We'll find out as the year goes on, but definitely, I'll say this, Elijah, it's not a terrible question, but the reality is we're locked in for 2 years, likely. Elijah Bowman again, $1.99. My biggest shocker is the leakage in the secondary. So that brings us to our next topic, Elijah. Our next topic is defensively, we have a problem. So shout out to Elijah for transitioning us perfectly into this. So guys, let me throw some stats at you. Wink Martindale is doing his best Don Brown impression. I'm going to let you guys know. And I know that was the concern heading into the season. A lot of people were concerned about this man coverage, zero blitz, 6-man pressures, putting guys on islands. And on top of that, what has also become apparent is the complexity on the back end of the defense on some of the zone plays that Wink Martindale's defense brings, that even in the NFL guys were having trouble with Brian Daboll. We have been told that Brian Daboll asked Wink Martindale to simplify the defense on the back end, because it was just too challenging at times, and players were not reacting, they were thinking, and Wink Martindale remained stubborn, which is one of the reasons why Brian Daboll moved on from Wink Martindale. So here we go. Guys, we are ranked 115th in passing yards. That is what we were ranked in Division I college football. That is absolutely insane. Michigan should never be ranked anywhere past 40 in any of that, especially when you have one of the best corners in the nation. Like, it is absolutely insane that that's even occurring right now in Michigan. You know, I mean, there are 36 schools right now, 135. I don't even know, 136, 135, 134, something like that. We're ranked at the damn bottom, guys, near the bottom in the in college football. Like, that's absolutely just insane to me. We rank 132nd in passing attempts against our defense right now. Like, that is insane. Again, teams feel like they could throw on us all day. When you have Makari Page, when you have Zeke Berry, when you have Will Johnson, teams are just, and it's not like we're playing against these offensive juggernauts, guys. Like, we went against Fresno State, Arkansas State, Washington's okay. You know, like, what is that, right? We rank 131st in completions against us. We have a lockdown. Well, Will Johnson has had his moments. We saw him early in the year in non-con play, give up some catches. He's made up for it to some extent, but he also sat out the week prior to Washington. Jair Hill had a very tough game last game. We rank 131st in completions. We rank 116th in passing touchdowns a game. 116th, guys. 115th in first downs through passing per game. We're giving up 12 and a half first downs a game. How the hell are you going to win when you don't have a quarterback? When you don't have a quarterback who can literally lead your team, your quarterback has to play within the system, game manage to win games. How do we expect to win? You know, like, what are we going to do? We are 79th. We rank 79th in passing completion with against opposing quarterbacks. 79th. And we haven't even played Indiana, Oregon, Ohio State. Like, we're playing against some much more aggressive offenses coming, you know? Like, it's very concerning. Defensively, we have a problem. Wink Martindale is an issue. Like, it's officially an issue. It's a big concern. It's something that I can't overlook. We saw some moments, USC, where the defense actually played really well. The game plan was solid. We noticed he was dialing up, or we were doing a better job of not throwing too many guys on the blitz. We were rushing with 4. We were getting pressure up the middle. The team was playing better. And then what does he do against Washington? 6-man blitzes, exposing the back end of the defense. That's what's killing this team right now, is that we are doing these wild ass blitzes, exposing the back end of the defense, putting guys on islands. It's not good. Like, it is similar. It's not Don Brown, but it's damn close to Don Brown. It's damn close. Extremely dangerous, in my opinion. And if we want to save the season, this has to be corrected. Sharon Moore needs to get Wink Martindale's ass right now. Honestly. You know, it's absolutely a problem. And I'm going to tell you guys, we need a new defensive coordinator. I don't think the old dog is going to learn new tricks. This is a major concern, and this is why we didn't beat Washington. We should have beat Washington. Our defense has 3 first rounders on it. You know, and 2 of them are interior defensive linemen. We have another defender, Josiah Stewart, who has how many sacks on the year? Let me look. How many damn sacks is he at 4 now? Like, it's not like we're not getting pressure. You know, it's absolutely insane. So Josiah Stewart has 5. I'm sorry. How dare I? He has 5 sacks on the year. Unbelievable. You know, like, what are we doing? 5 sacks in 5 games. Josiah Stewart's a damn problem. And he's not in, like, so why are we rushing and then, like, here's what is even worse, is we rush 6 defenders, right? And they don't even get home. Because the offense already knows where the pressure's coming from. They just make us pay because they already know where it's so obvious. Like, that's the thing too, is like, there's no creativity. There's no the disguise blitzing is extremely limited. there's no coverage disguises like we saw with Mike McDonald and Jesse Minter. And then on the back end, I was watching some film on the back end of the defense. Our DBs and safeties are communicating with each other. They don't know. They don't know where they're supposed to be, which is why we're seeing these missed these out of position plays where like Makari Page is out of position, or we saw Pollard be out of position against Texas. This is not good. This is extremely dangerous. We will not be able to save the season if this continues. My hope is this gets corrected because we've seen it. We've seen moments where Wink is he's just rushing for, or he is playing he is doing a well-coached game. We saw this against USC. There's no reason he can't duplicate it. He's got to look in the mirror. And I know there's a history of Wink Martindale just remaining stubborn. He remained stubborn in Baltimore. He remained stubborn with the Giants. This was a concern. There were a lot of people who voiced this. We'll see. So that's where we are with the defense. Extremely concerning, in my opinion. Let's get to these super chats. Elijah, you coming through. We appreciate it very much. And then Elijah, $4.99, because Will Rogers was getting drilled, but when he threw the ball, he had wide receivers open, which means he knew exactly where to throw the defense. Yeah, I think our defense is predictable. And I think offensive coordinators know what they need to do. As more games go on, there's going to be more and more film on our defense. They're going to know what players to go after. Jair Hill right now, Makari Page, Jay-Sean Barnum has been a liability in coverage, although last game was a little better. Yeah, I mean they're identifying the weak spots in our defense. They also listen. You're learning Wink's tendencies. This is an extreme red flag. It's not good. We should not be ranked in the hundreds. There's too much talent on this defense, guys. Our best players returned. You got Josiah Stewart. You got Derek Moore, who was injured last game, but TJ Guy played well. Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham, Rayshon Benny, Ernest Hausman, Jay-Sean Barham, who was better at Maryland than here. Why? Because poor ass coaching. That's why. You got Will Johnson, one of the best corners in the nation, and you're giving up 100. I'm sorry, you're ranked 115th in passing yards. One side of the field should be locked down. You should be able to design your defense that should be a strength. That should allow you to move guys elsewhere. So this way there's less coverage needed on one side of the field. We've seen Will Johnson lock down Marvin Harrison Jr., guys. Like, we've seen this. Like, it's just unbelievable. It's I don't know. It actually baffles me. I didn't anticipate it to be this terrible, and it is. Elijah Bowman again, $9. Page is getting exposed. Rod Moore covered him up. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's Rod Moore covered him up. I actually just think Jesse Minter was way better defensively. Like, Jesse Minter and Jay Harbaugh are extreme upgrades to JB Brown and Wink Martindale. Like, it's not even the same damn sphere. Like, JB Brown coaches the safeties as well as special teams, and he's not Jay Harbaugh. Wink Mart, and then Clinkscale. I mean, you could argue Clinkscale's a better X and O's coach than Lamar Morgan. Lamar Morgan's killing it on the trail right now. But this is definitely concerning, guys. This is something that Michigan needs to look in the mirror on. It's not that this is the good news. It's not that it can't be fixed, because it can, but they have to be willing to do it. If you are not willing to make the necessary changes, the necessary adaptations, stop blitzing 6 guys all the damn. We're getting pressure. What are you doing? We're getting pressured, rushing for, maybe blitz the occasional player in situational scenarios, but stop with this this coverage zero shit, these 6-man blitzes. I mean, the stats speak for themselves. The results speak for themselves. The team doesn't even look. And then on top of that, we got to start coaching. And another thing too is the tackling. When was the last time? I'm going to ask you guys in the chat. You guys tell me. When was the last time Michigan looked this poor tackling? Brady Hoke era? Because Jim Harbaugh's defense has actually been pretty sound tackling. Yeah, I don't know. I'd say maybe the Brady Hoke era, definitely Rich Rod era. We know that. Shout out to Detective Loki. Gifted a membership to the Voice of College Football. Thank you, Detective Loki. We appreciate you. Elijah Bowman again. So the lack of elite recruiting in the 23-24 class and the lack of good coaching staff and an aggressive NIL push, does this fall on Ward? Does 100% of it fall on Ward? No. But does a lot of it fall on Ward in the sense, here's why. All right. So it's a mix. All right. So it's a mixed bag because, yeah, there's blame for Ward, though. Ward's reactive approach to NIL and Michigan's, actually, it goes above Ward, though. It's the Regents as well. The Regents had no ambition. It's so frustrating when you have a university like Michigan who claims to be cutting edge. And I don't even want to say, I was going to say so. I'm not going to say it, though. But, Michigan's brand protects Michigan. And the leaders at the top, unfortunately, lean on this brand. And their actions do not meet the standard they say they uphold. And the good news is this, though. Even with a reactive approach and even with a terrible strategy in current markets, they can save their asses because Michigan is the brand it is, because it has the resources that it has. So the reality is this NIL will get better. It's just, unfortunately, it was poorly strategized from the beginning. They didn't even want anything to do with it. Though their dumb asses thought it was just going to go away. Just don't have to worry about it. Not our problem. It took 2 years before there was even a plan. If it was not for Santa Ono, there would not have been even a plan a year ago. When that thing started getting kicked off, Santa Ono, 3 months into the job, had a meeting in December and said, there is no reason why Michigan cannot be the best. And if you say if you give me a reason why they cannot, then those are excuses, and I do not take excuses. That's what Santa Ono did. That is a comment. I paraphrased it a little, but that is a comment behind a closed door meeting that became public. It leaked. Santa Ono was not happy, and he had a few December meetings. And there was, I want to word this correctly. Ward had some stern words, there's been some stern words towards Ward, in his approach to this shit. There have been some people who have been like, Ward, you a little kick in the ass. And you definitely saw that. You really saw it in January when he started doing, Ward actually was a part of the collective's, I guess, meetings or gatherings with donors, and he was actually a part of the presentation. And he started making himself more public in that area. But yeah, listen, Ward, unfortunately, he's, in my opinion, this is my opinion, and I know there's gonna be people who disagree. Ward is nothing more than a regent puppet. The regents tell him what to do. He says, absolutely, yes, sir, and he plays his part. We can look at the countless mistakes that Ward has made, from coaching, letting coaches go, not matching certain things like, and I know I'm going to get some shit here because of the debate, but I have a source on this one that I know is good. The Jeff Backett situation, the baseball coach, he handled that so poorly. Backett didn't want to leave. Backett would have stayed at Michigan if they gave him what he needed, in terms of facilities and matching contracts and all of that. I have good intel on that one. And then obviously the way he treated John Beilein. John Beilein was waiting for a phone call, and Ward didn't give him, in terms of him going to Cavaliers. Ward didn't respond. John Beilein was going to give him 24 hours, and then John Beilein said F it, and he just made the move to the Cavaliers. Now, granted, John Beilein was getting very frustrated with the climate of college athletics, but to your point, Elijah, I did get off path. The lack of recruiting it also falls on Jim Harbaugh. The approach he took with Dante Moore, the all eggs in one basket, was an awful approach to recruiting. It's why we don't have a quarterback this year. Okay. The lack of portal aggression, right? That falls on Sharon Moore. That falls on the collectives. That falls on the donors. I mean, it's really an all involved issue here. Now, because the donors, like, it's, and Ward has, in credit to Ward, we'll give Ward some credit here. Ward has said there is a philosophical approach occurring with Michigan donors. They are starting to understand the value and need of donating to Michigan athletics for its players. Not just athletics, because they've done that. The donors have done that. We know that. But the players. Now, there's still some big fish like Stephen Ross who find it not, he doesn't feel like it's his responsibility. We wish he would, because that'd be wonderful. Maybe eventually he will come around, especially looking at the product on the field right now. I mean, you can't, if you're somebody like Stephen Ross, you can't be happy about it. It can't make you feel good, especially someone of his age. Like, I don't know, it pissed me off if I was him. But he has the Dolphins, so he probably feels his money should go there. But regardless, the reality is, yes, Ward is to blame. I'd say he's probably 45% of the problem. I'd say the Regents are probably, I don't know. I'd probably say he's more 40% of the problem. The Regents are probably 30% of the problem. The donors are probably another 20% of the problem. The coaching staff's the other 10, or give or take 10, 5%. Who knows? I mean, the reality is the coaching staff botched the shit out of it in the April portal. And they know it. I mean, there's no way they don't know it. So hopefully that's corrected. And we see Dave Portnoy vocal. He cannot be the only donor who is like that. I'm sure he's not. No one finds this acceptable. I could tell you that. Even Sharon Morris changed his approach to the media, holding his team accountable publicly. He wasn't doing that before. So we'll see. But thank you again, Elijah, for the 499 super chat. GT in the house. Just imagine how this defense will look next year if we keep the same coaches after half of these guys in the NFL. And that is an extremely good point, GT, and this is a problem. We are losing so much on defense next year. Wink Martindale cannot be here. Cannot be. You need a coach who is going to scheme our guys into a position of success, because we are going to lose Mason Graham. We're going to lose Kenneth Grant. We're going to lose Will Johnson. We're going to lose, Makari Page is likely gone, but I mean, at this point, Ernest Hausman probably is gone. Josiah Stewart's gone. Derek Moore's gone. Rayshon Benny will probably be back for another year. Jayshon Barnum, I believe the plan was for him to be gone, but the way he's playing, I don't see it. Rod Moore is gone. Unless, and he has said this, Rod Moore has said this publicly, unless they give me an extremely good NIL offer. And I don't know if they would. The reason why I don't know if they would, it's not that I don't think the collectives are going to have money, because they will. Revenue sharing picks up. We're going to have a lot of money, actually. I just don't know if they feel like the amount of money it would take for Rod Moore not to come back is worth the investment. We'll see, though. It's too early to tell there. We'll find out. I talked to John. So this is, so I talked to John about this. When they do another one of those who stay funds, me and John are going to dedicate a show, and 100% of our profits are going to go to that. So that's one. We're definitely going to dedicate a show to the NIL. We're going to do our part. Because, I feel like, with our platform, we should do what we can. So, and we care about the program and we want to see it succeed. Shout out to Elijah Bowman again, $1.99. You think Harbaugh would have went for a QB in April? Shit. That's a great question. I don't know, man. He really liked Orgy. I'll say, I don't know. But I'll say this, though. This team would be better coached. It wouldn't be the way it is. We'd be a better team. Fundamentally sound. It wouldn't be sloppy. I'll say this. I do think we'd be more aggressive in the portal, but when I mean for other positions, like, I don't know if we would have gotten a quarterback, though. Because I'm be honest, guys, like, as much as we love Jim Harbaugh, he was a bit old school in his recruiting approach. Like, our recruiting department had like less than 10 people in it. Sharon Moore's upped it to like 23 right now, 22, 23. Like the entire recruiting department needed to be shifted. He was also, Jim Harbaugh was not the most aggressive recruiter. He was not a Ryan Day, Kirby Smart, Dan Lanning. He just wasn't that, we almost lost. I don't want to say lost, but the Donovan Edwards recruitment was very challenging because Donovan Edwards wanted a better connection with Jim Harbaugh, and Jim Harbaugh wasn't reaching out to him. And then he finally did. but it took a while. Like Jim Harbaugh is the type of coach who thought, oh, well, I'll start talking to the recruit once it gets close to commit time. No, man, you got to build relationships early. Like this is how this works. And so Jim Harbaugh did not have, as great as he was, he did not have the best recruiting mentality. But he made up for it with his coaching, his development with Coach Herbert. He wasn't, dude. We see what he's doing with the Chargers. Like Jim Harbaugh is just an excellent coach. And it's just the difference with Jim Harbaugh is he doesn't need to have a top 5 class to win a national title. He can do it with a top 15 class. Dabo Swinney did it with a top 50. It can happen. But in the NIL era, I don't know. I really don't know. I think you got to be a spender to win it, especially with a 12-team playoff. You're going to go through that gauntlet. You're going to need talent. You're going to need depth. Let's go Elijah Bowman again, $1.99. Didn't we try to get Talua Tungo-Viola from Maryland? Okay, so there was something to that, but I think there was a reason. The problem with Taluia was his eligibility. I don't think he had any eligibility. I think if he had eligibility, yeah, I think it was an option. But that's why he's not playing right now. He tried to get eligibility, but the NCAA denied it. Something like that. The chat can correct me if I'm wrong there. But yeah, I mean, so that's where we are, guys. That's where we are on our defense. Defense is an issue. Again, thank you everyone for contributing super chats. We greatly appreciate it. On to our final topic of the show, and then I'll take some questions after. Here we go. Mid-season grades. Where are we at this point in the season after we are 3-2 into the season? We are going into the bye, week 6 bye. This is what I have for you guys, in my opinion. So first we're going to do offense, and we'll go through offense, defense, special teams. Then I'm going to go through the individual coaches. And I want we're going to go a coach we're going to go position at a time. I'd like to see your guys' grades. So offensively, let me know, where do you guys grade our offense at this point in the season? Our total offense. Wait till I tell you. How about this? Without you guys looking, let me know in the chat. Where do you think our total offense is ranked in college football? Give me the grade and its ranking. Don't look, although someone's probably going to look. So we got some Fs here. C-, F. Mike 4 with the 80 to 90 range. Beats in Treats Ice Cream, 120th. 96th, Elijah. D-, D+, 87th. All right, we'll hit a super chat here, and then I will let you guys know. Michael Newman, $5 super chat, bye week to get things together. A bit spoiled by 3 years of dominance. Every game is a dogfight. Let's take it one at a time, celebrate each win. I agree with this. I think this is the approach with this team right now. I agree, Michael. I think, we got this bye. This is going to be a big test for the coaching staff, the fan base. This is going to be a great opportunity to see, does this coaching staff have what it takes to self-reflect, scout accordingly, self-scout, and make the necessary changes? Because here's the reality. Their seats are getting warm. Their asses are feeling the flame. There's everyone knows this is a results business, guys. They know. They've all been, like, Wink Martindale's been fired. Like, he knows. Like, they are well aware that this is not acceptable, especially long term. So we'll see what the boys do. What we see come out of this bye week in this Illinois game is going to be a very big indicator of the long-term sustainability of this coaching staff. We're going to find out a lot. We got another super chat here. Detective Loki, $2. Does Donovan Edwards even get drafted? Ooh, great question. So I do think Donovan Edwards is having a good enough year to get drafted. Let's take a look at Donovan Edwards' stats here. And I will let everyone, don't worry, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I will let you guys know where we're ranked. And I'll give you guys my grades. But Donovan Edwards is actually having a solid season. He has 353 yards. He's averaging 4.8, which is it's okay. You want to be in the 5s in college. That's ideal. 3 touchdowns, but he's, it's a little bit more consistent in terms of, we're not seeing the gaps in his successful games. But I'll say this too: the coaching staff's not doing the greatest job for Donovan Edwards. I could see Donovan Edwards being a 6th round pick. A team taking a chance on him because of his athletic ability. But I do think he will get drafted. Running back's a tough one though sometimes. But I'll say this too: Donovan Edwards is built for the NFL in terms of physically, although he's not the best tackle breaker. But I do think a team will definitely spend a day 3 pick on Donovan Edwards. And then to you guys, so thank you for waiting patiently. We are ranked 118th in the nation in total defense. That is absolutely insane. We are used to being ranked in the top 10 in total defense, top 20 at worst. 108, or actually, no, I apologize. I'm in offense. 118th offensively. We are ranked 118th offensively in total offense, which is insane. Like that is some group of 5 stuff there. That's the type of stuff you see from like Vanderbilt. They're not group of 5, but just a lower level school. Absolutely terrible. And there's no one to blame but Michigan for that. They've done it to themselves. Guys, how do you, and I'm sure you guys have thought this too. How do you have this lack of talent at skill positions like quarterback, wide receiver, even offensive line, right tackle? When you win 3 Big Ten championships, you go to the college football playoff 3 years in a row, you win a national title, and you lack talent, and then, the argument be, they went to the NFL. Guys, when you are an elite program, you reload. You don't rebuild. And we are rebuilding. This is a rebuild. If the coaching staff does not get this together, this is and this could not only is it a rebuild, if this does not go well, we may have, another coach could be on the table, which makes it a true rebuild. So my grade for the offense is an F. If you are ranked 118th in the nation, your wide receivers cannot get more than 40 yards in a game. Your leading receivers are tight ends. Your offensive line is still not together 5 games into the season. It's an F. And that falls on Kirk Campbell. That falls on Sharon Moore. It's just it's unacceptable. This is not to the standard it should be. And Michigan really needs to look in the mirror. And hopefully they do. I do think it's better than that. I think Michigan has the potential to be a top 70 offense with Jack Tuttle. I'd say 50 to 70. But it's up to them to build the playbook around them or around him and allow Khalil Mullins. And that's another thing too, is you got to utilize Khalil Mullins properly and Donovan Edwards properly. But I can see Michigan's offense, the ceiling of this offense in the 50 to 70 range, not 118th. That is abysmal, absolutely terrible. They get an F. Defensively, our total defense is ranked 48th, which is, by Michigan standards, absolutely dog shit. We have the talent on this defense to not be ranked any worse than 20. We should not be any worse than 20. Any worse than 20. The fact that we are ranked 48th in total defense is terrible. I've already told you guys the stats earlier. Being ranked 115th in passing yards, 131st in completions against us, 115th in first downs for passing against us, 116th in passing touchdowns. Like, the defense is just not doing its job. It's not playing to the standard of Michigan at all. So my grade, I'll ask you guys right now, what is your grade for the Michigan defense? You guys let me know in the chat. We'll take a couple comments here while you guys throw those in there. 118th off a rebuild sounds accurate with these QBs we have in stock. All right. They are not developing. They are doing less with more. It appears to be that right now. Our third down defense is infuriating. All right, Michael Newman with a C+ grade, beats and treats with a D. D-line pass rush A-, secondary a D. We got Cade Ezra with a solid C. Shout out to the Kitty Cats. Michael Newman, D for the DBs, A+ for the pass rush, B on the line contain. Yeah, the contain could be better. C+ from Stephen Powers, C+ from Elijah. So I am pretty on par with most of the fan base. I gave our defense a C because I didn't separate it defensive line versus defensive backs plus linebackers. The reality is, defensively, we are, to be honest, we're not even average. With a lot of our statistics in terms of passing, which should be one of the strengths of this defense. I give it a C. I think but here's the thing: it's not the talent. That's what makes it worse for me. It's the coaching. The coaching is putting this is, if anyone asks, like, what does coaching mean to a program? How much of an impact does coaching have? You are seeing the reality of a Jesse Minter and a Wink Martindale. You are seeing a defense that was ranked top 5, top 10 in a lot of categories, and now we're ranked 48th, and then we're ranked in the hundreds in other categories. Like, it's absolutely insane. Not good. Not good. So they got to do better there. The good news is we have the talent. It's up to the coaching staff to schematically put us in the best position to win, and I think they can. We'll see if they do it, though. Special teams. So I'll answer this question. This is a good question. Mark goes, TJ, would you take a 7-win season if we were to beat the States? Yes. That'd be wonderful. If we could beat, oh my God, could you guys imagine if we were a 7-win team, 6 wins going into Ohio State, and we knock Ohio State down? Now, they'll probably still make the playoffs, probably. I would imagine they're in a good standing. That'd be absolutely wonderful. But give me your guys. I'm going to take the super chat from Michael Newman here. Give me your guys' grades for special teams, and then we will get to that after the super chat. $5 super chat from Michael Newman. Can you imagine giving any other defensive coordinator our defensive line? We are so spoiled with the front 4 pressure. When that's gone, oof. And we're losing all 4 of them. We are losing all 4 of them. The only one, Rayshon Benny will be back, I would think, and TJ Guy will be back. That's it. In terms of major contributors. Obviously, some depth players will be back, but like Inaweta will be here and all of that. But I mean, listen, we're talking about first round talents. Josiah Stewart's likely a day 2 pick due to his size. I mean, if he keeps playing like this, I don't know, he might work his way into the first round. He might do it. But it's just unbelievable. Derek Moore, I think, is a day 3 pick. But still, when you have 4 NFL caliber players on your defensive line and your defense is playing like this, holy shit, dude. Holy shit. All right, so A- for special teams. And thank you, Michael Newman, for the super chat. And then we got another A-. So A-. Okay, so you guys are actually very high. I'm not low on the team. So so to give you guys some statistics with special teams, our kick returns are ranked 92nd in the nation. We are averaging 17.91 per kick return in the nation. That's terrible. But that shows you what that is. That's a few things that we do not have the talent on our skill positions. And typically you have a skill player, obviously, return your kicks. We don't have it. We don't have, although I would argue Micah Capana, Cole Cabana. I'd like to see more of these burners. We do have some burners on the roster, but they don't play. Punt return. This is a little better. 40th in the nation. We have a 10.78 average. It's a little better. And then here is the man, the myth, the legend, Dominic Zavada, who is 8 for 8 on all of his field goals and 4 for 4 beyond 50. Zavada is an NFL quality player. Excellent portal grab, being aggressive. See, that's what's amazing. Like, oh, the portal only had so many players in it. Guess what? Zavada wasn't in the portal, guys. Phone calls were made. Phone calls were made. That's how you play the game. Michigan just, I don't know. Hopefully they're learning. They're taking their medicine now. My grade for special teams is a B. It's a B because it's not complete. I also think our punt coverage is lacking. Our kick coverage is okay, but our punt coverage is abysmal. We gave up a touchdown on punt return. So for me, it's a B. JB Brown, I'm not impressed. I think Zavada, if it was not, ask yourself this, if it was not for Zavada, how would you feel about it? You know, so we got a C minus from Borge Warner. Yeah, Tommy Doman. Yeah, Tommy Doman. And then, okay. So yeah, we'll get to the next. So now let's get to the coaching staff. So the very first coach we're going to do, and I'm going to save Sharon Moore for last, is Kirk Campbell. So I want to know what you guys think. Give me the grades on what you guys would give Kirk Campbell at this point in the season. And then I'm going to take some questions while you guys throw some grades at me for Kirk Campbell. Mark here. TJ, how about them Tigers and Lions, though? Hey, Tigers are doing the damn thing. Looking forward to the next game. I think the Tigers are playing dangerous baseball with their, pitching chaos, but I'm excited to watch them play. And that game, the game on, what was it, Monday? Amazing. That home run by Kerry Bonds was absolutely amazing. The Lions, man. Yeah, absolutely love watching them. They're doing a really good job. I'm excited. I'm hoping, here's my thing about the Lions, and we'll get to these grades here. I'm hoping they make a trade for a pass rusher opposite of Hutchinson. I think if they do that, we're a complete team. If we do that, we can be a super. Even as the roster stands now, we are a Super Bowl contender. We get a pass rusher opposite of Hutchinson, I think we are going to be the team to beat. And then here we go with the grades for Kirk Campbell. Stephen Powers with a D minus, C minus by GT for Campbell, an F from Detective Loki. Kirk Campbell and Wink both get an F. Mark ain't playing around. C4, Kirk Campbell gets a D minus. We got the Pennant Fanatic with an F. Jay Marion with an F. Borge Warner with an F. I have an F. My grade for Kirk Campbell is a fat ass F. Terrible. Absolutely awful. This offense is garbage. Your offense cannot be ranked 118th in the nation. You cannot have this quarterback. I don't know what you would call it. I don't know what do you call this quarterback situation? Garbage. That's my word for this quarterback situation. I mean, how do you go into fall camp? They gassed it up. They gassed up the quarterback situation. Oh, Davis Warren's playing really well. They're both progressing. Like I remember we were hearing that Alex Orji was QB1, and it wasn't because Davis Warren was playing bad. It's because Alex Orji was playing that well. Yeah. Turns out to be a lie. Not true. So yeah, very frustrating. We have a super chat here. We'll get to that. Elijah Bowman, $1.99. I think Kirk is limited due to a lack of explosive playmakers. You tell me, Elijah. I would say, listen, the coaching staff and team are limited because they do not have a true quarterback and they do not have playmakers on the outside. And when you become a one-dimensional offense, you saw against Washington how they schemed against Orji. That offense was going nowhere, guys. Because they completely schemed against it. And this is what, so Tim Prangley, who's a part of our USC channel, he had some opinions that I disagreed with in terms of officiating. But what he was correct about was he said when teams have more tape on Michigan and they have time to scheme and figure out how to attack this offense, Michigan's going to have a really hard time. And we saw it. We saw it against Washington. We saw it against Minnesota in the second half, right? So again, but hey, Jack Tuttle's here. It's Tuttle season. Shout out to Keith Rebar. His prophecy has come true. So we'll see where Tuttle can lead us. Michael Newman, speaking of Tuttle goes through progressions. He does. Oh my goodness. It was nice to see. It was so nice to see Tuttle going through his progressions and then going back, like going through them, going back, and then making a play with his legs, like that touchdown he had against Washington. I'll be honest with you guys. When I saw him do that, I was like, oh, we have an improviser. We have a quarterback who I literally went on a beer run because I thought we were going to be in for a hell of a game. I thought the post game was going to be amazing. It was still a good post game show. Like obviously you guys make it great, but the outcome was not what I was anticipating. I actually thought Michigan was going to come away with the victory there. Once I saw Tuttle really take this offense and drive it and get a 17-point lead down 14, extremely fun to watch. Link will be replaced. Not so fast, my friend. Will lean more on Mullins. Offense will improve a lot from terrible to okay. Okay, I agree with your last take. I do think it'll go from terrible to okay. I think it'll be solid going forward. Tuttle has to limit his turnovers, though. Now, your point here with Link will be replaced. I don't think so. The reason why I don't think so, not because I don't want it, I do. I think, in my opinion, Percy should play right tackle. That's who I would put. But the coaching staff seems to be set on playing Evan Link because they believe, and he's even said this publicly, they think his ceiling and his future is so great that they want to invest in him. I would argue the meritocracy that Jim Harbaugh preached is not happening. I think Evan Link needs to sit and develop. He is not ready. It's evident. I mean, his PFF grade is insane in terms of pass blocking ability. It's absolutely terrible. And then let's see. We'll lean more on Mullins. I hope so, but they went back to Donovan Edwards, and that was frustrating. It's like, yeah, Donovan Edwards had that one big play, but he does that. You gotta lean on Mullins. I don't know why they don't do it. Elijah Bowen with the $1.99 super chat. Lack of explosive players makes us one-dimensional. 100%. 100%. Lack of explosive players plus a quarterback who can feed the ball to those explosive players and an offense creative enough to put its players in a position to succeed. So yeah, Kirk Campbell. So my grade for Kirk Campbell is an F. We went on that. The next one is Tony Alford, guys. So give me your grade for Tony Alford. What do you guys think it is? And then I will give you guys my grade for Tony Alford. I will say regarding Tony Alford, what Mullins has looked good. Donovan Edwards has been playable, but he has his moments. For me, the biggest thing for Tony Alford is his rotation. And here's Borge Warner. Where is Ben Hall? I don't know. I'd like to see Ben Hall too. Detective Loki with the C for Tony Alford. We got GT with a B- for Tony Alford. And then Borge Warner with an F from Tony Alford. Ooh, Borge Warner going very hard. All right, my grade for Tony Alford is a B. I gave Tony Alford a B. It's not an A. It could be an A if his rotation was better, but I do not think the running game is the issue. I think Tony Alford has actually done a good job with Khalil Mullins. I think Donovan Edwards has actually looked better than last year. Would you guys disagree with that? Do you guys not think Donovan Edwards looks like a better running back than he did last season? I do. What I like to see, and I think this falls on Kirk Campbell, I'd like to see Donovan Edwards used a little differently, but I think that's Kirk Campbell scheming it up. I think Tony Alford has actually done a pretty solid job as a coach on the field. So he gets a B from me. Not too bad there. All right, the next coach, and I know you guys are going to love it, and I'll take the super chat from Elijah Bowman after I ask this question. Actually, we'll take some more grades. So Jay Marion with the C needs to give Ben Hall at least 3 to 5 carries. I agree. Don's definitely better than last year, and I agree. So I mean, if you have two running backs who are Khalil Mullins is way better than he was last year. Khalil Mullins is literally in my opinion, Khalil Mullins could be a top 10 back in the nation. Khalil Mullins looks great. Donovan Edwards is definitely better than he was last year. So Tony Alford gets credit there. The rotation is questionable. All right, that's where we have our issues. Okay, and then so my next one for you guys are gonna love this. Ron Bellamy. Give me your grade for Ron Bellamy, the wide receivers coach. I am looking forward to seeing what you guys think. Elijah Bowman here with the $1.99 super chat. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed your other one. We'll get to you. Elijah Bowman with the super chats. Let me just make sure I got everybody. Let me double check. I don't got John here to keep me organized. Elijah Bowman with the $9.99. Kirk Campbell definitely made some bad play calls, but on 3rd and 8, it's only so much you can scheme up when your offensive line can't block. It's a good point. No wide receivers, no true quarterback compared to Wink, who has a lot of talent but still sucks. That's an extremely good point, Elijah. You're right. I mean, it's true. The offensive line has its challenges blocking, but is it not up to Kirk Campbell to make sure the best five are starting? I don't think the best five are starting. No wide receivers, you're right. But again, is that not on the coaching staff to get wide receivers in the portal? But you're right. I mean, I don't disagree. Your argument's sound. Why would I rank? Oh, you don't even know what I ranked him yet. But so I give Kirk Campbell an F. I was gonna say, why would I rank Wink Martindale when I ranked him? Uh, but we'll get to Wink Martindale. But I think you bring up great points, Elijah. I think Wink Martindale has far more in his arsenal than Kirk does. So yeah, I mean, but I'll say this though. I do think Kirk can do a better job scheming. Let me ask you this, Elijah. Do you think that Kirk Campbell has done a good job with our current scheme, given our players that we have at our skill positions in quarterback? Let me know what you think on that. I'm curious your thoughts. I feel like I know your answer, but I just want to clarify that. Elijah Bowman again with $1.99. I think Moore is telling Alford to play Edwards. I think to that point, I think the coaching staff has told Edwards after what happened with Blake Corum last year that it's your year, it's your team, it's your time. And I think that promise was, I'm assuming, guys, I don't know this. I don't have intel. This is my assumption. But I feel like that's the case. It seems like it's the way it was kind of presented all off season. It appears to be the case. The way it's transpired into the season, it appears to be the case. I think Moore definitely has a hand in that. I don't disagree there. All right. So Ron Bellamy grade, Mike Ford with the sarcastic A-. We got Detective Loki with the F, D- from C4. Bellamy or Steve with the A+. You liar. I don't believe you, Steve. Steve's always giving me shit. Borge Warner with the F. Jay Marion with the D. Yeah, but who's transferred out that was really of, I guess we lost, what's his, was it Coleman, or what was his name? The one who went to Oregon State. Can't remember. We lost the kid to Oklahoma. Yeah, Ron Bellamy with the F from Mark. F is too high for Bellamy, Andrew says. We got Stephen Powers with the F. We got Sneak here with the F. And Michael Noon with the F. All right, guys. Well, I am in agreement with you. Ron Bellamy gets a fat ass F. F for fired. That's what that F stands for. Fired. You're gone. Get your resume cleaned up, bro. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being a Michigan alumni. I appreciate you being a head coach at West Bloomfield and bringing them a state title and helping Donovan Edwards. I think you were a big reason Donovan Edwards chose Michigan. You really helped us in that. But at the end of the day, it's a results business, Ron. And I think even you think that the receivers are not playing to the standard you think they should. And that's on you because you're the coach. Another super chat. Let me ask you guys a question before I get to the super chat, though. The next coach I want to hit is the tight ends coach, Steve Kasula. What grade would you guys give Steve Kasula? Our good friend Asian Posh here, who is a fellow Buckeye, but she is a good Buckeye. She is a good friend of the program. We appreciate Asian Posh. Doreen, her daughter plays in the band. So shout out to her and her daughter. We do appreciate Doreen. Yep. So okay. So So you guys have for Kasula here. Let me get the super chat. And I'll get to you guys. Elijah Bowman with the $4.99. Kirk Campbell will get more praise moving forward with Tuttle. I feel our offense will gel better. I agree. Because Kirk has called great drives, but Warren killed it. Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I think that's fair to say that if Tuttle can do what we think he can, and we saw it in the Washington game, yeah, I do think Kirk will get more praise, which is why I do not think Kirk is going to be gone. I do think Kirk will get another year. Because I do agree with you, Elijah. I do also agree. I feel our offense will gel better. And Kirk has done an okay. See, that's interesting. He's done an okay calling plays. Okay job calling plays, but then he stops and he gets, I don't know, he gets like stuck in this mode. and it's absolutely terrible. And then, all right, so Kasua, we got a B+ here. B+ for Michael Newman. A+. Woo, I don't know about that. I don't know if I'd go that high. Borge Warner with the C+. B to the tight ends coach. So I'm lower on Steve Kasula than you guys. I have Steve Kasula at a C. And the reason why I have Steve Kasula at a C is because although Colson Loveland, I believe, is our leading receiver, let me just double check. Let's find out together. Someone probably already knows that. Let's see. If we go to Michigan, we go to stats. Our leading receiver, it's got to be Loveland, right? It is Love. Oh my gosh, not even close. 261 yards, 29 receptions, 2 touchdowns. So for me, he's a C. The reason why it's a C is because it's not better. It's not better. Marlon Klein is supposed to be the next up. Marlon Klein has 7 receptions for 75 yards. I expected more out of Marlon Klein. I do think Hogan Hansen's a solid player, but I just expect more out of Steve Kasula because let's be honest, Colson Loveland's the number 1 tight end in the nation, guys. There's a reason why he's projected number 1. He's even projected top 15. That's extremely rare for a tight end. Not normal. Not normal for a tight end to go top 15. We all saw where Sam Laporta went. It's just not common, but a lot of people are projecting Colson Loveland to go top 15 right now. It's still early in projections, but still, it's telling. So, all right, then the last offensive coach is Newsome, our offensive line coach. What grade do you guys give Newsome? I'm curious for your guys' thoughts on that because there's been some bright spots, but obviously there's been some glaring issues regarding the offensive line as well as certain players playing certain positions. Damn. Michael Newman with the F here. I'll pull it up. Michael Newman with the F. We got Mike Fort with the F-. Detective Loki with the C-. Stephen Powers with the D+. And GT might be right. I'd have to look that up. GT goes, I think Will Johnson has more interception return yards than them. Well, not Colson Loveland, but maybe the others. Yeah, I'm probably likely. Yeah, I mean, if our leading receiver, guys, on the year has 78 yards, and it's Samaj Morgan. 78 yards is our leading receiver. Our second leading receiver is 51 yards, and that's Tyler Morris. Players do that in 1 quarter. Yeah. So we got more grades here. He has more to lean on. Sharon Moore to lean on, so it's a D. C4 with the D. Jim R with the D-. We got Sneak here with the F. Jay Marion with the C on O-line coach, only because of 5 new starters. Yeah. I mean, I think that's just so you know, that's where I am. I have a C on Grant Newsome, and I agree with Jay Marion here because of the new starters. And because I wonder, is it Grant Newsome or is it Sharon Moore who's saying Evan Link needs to be right tackle? I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's still a mentor and student situation with Sharon Moore. I don't think Grant Newsome has complete autonomy with the offensive line. I think Sharon Moore is still a part of it, which we want, by the way. I'm not saying that's a negative. Like, we want Sharon Moore to be a part of the offensive line. He obviously built us 2 Joe Moore award-winning offensive lines. He also had a really good offensive line last year that I would argue was the best offensive line in the nation once Carson Barnhart moved to his proper position. But, I just think, more can be had. I mean, the offensive, and look, I mean, how many times do we see the offensive line missing assignments, players breaking through the gap, players taking the wrong guy? I mean, we see it from El Hadi, we see it from Preby, we saw it from Preby last game. The rotation at center is something else. Mark here with the C+. Borge Warner with the F. Elijah Bowman again. Thank you, Elijah Bowman, for being so generous tonight. Again, like you always are. Shout out to Elijah Bowman. $1.99 with a C. I was going to give him an F, but we can run. That is true. We can run. We are definitely. That's you're right. That's where we are. We are a running team right now. Hopefully, Tuttle helps balance it a little bit. Michael Newman again, another one. Thank you, Michael Newman. $2. Link at right tackle is a disservice to the players on this team. I agree. You are not putting the team in the position to best succeed. Like, there's no reason. Why not use Evan Link as a sixth offensive lineman? He will get game experience. He will get reps. Why are you forcing this kid on the field when he's getting exposed? He's ranked. Damn, what was he ranked? He's ranked like top 5 worst offensive lineman in pass blocking in all of college. I was like 550 offensive linemen. He's ranked like 545 through PFF grading guy, by the way. All right, let's move on to defense. Where do you guys rank Wink Martindale? So give me your grade. Mike Ford actually says he is the worst tackle. It might be. I mean, I know it was like he was ranked like, I want to say 545 out of 550. That could be wrong. I mean, it's something crazy like that. It's absolutely insane. We got the Wink Martindale grades coming in. We got Mike Ford with the C+, Detective Loki with the D+, Dependent Fanatic with the F, Michael Newman with the D. We got an F from Beats and Treats. Scumbag Steve with the E, being respectful. See, Scumbag, you're not much of a Steve. You're a nice guy, Steve. Scumbag Steve. C4 collect with the F. Scumbag Steve might be a teacher. Sneak here with the F, and then a D+ from Jay Marion. My grade for Wink Martindale is a D. And Elijah actually made me think about it because I gave Kirk Campbell an F, but I think it was Elijah. Elijah said, at least Wink Martindale has weapons. He has an arsenal. He has a war chest. Kirk Campbell does not. So why did I give Kirk Campbell an F when Wink Martindale's defense has actually been so bad? And the reason why I'm giving him a D is because there's been times where the defense has been good. USC game being one of them, there's been times where the defense has actually done its job. There's been times where the defense has shown a lot of promise. Now, granted, it's because of the talent. It's probably not because of the coach. So I'm going to give it a D for now. We'll see where we are at the end of the year. I know me and John will do final season grades at some point. The next coach I want to grade, and I want to get from you guys, is Lou Esposito. Coach Esposito, defensive line coach, for Michigan. Let me know what you guys think Lou Esposito his grade is. I'm curious what you guys have for Lou Esposito. We got GT with an F+ for Wink. Mark here, and this is my point. This is like one of the things. USC game, Wink Martindale only blitzed 23% of the time. Allow your front four to get your pressure. You have 2 first rounders. You have 3 players going in the first 3 rounds of the draft on that front four. You have 4 NFL linemen on that front four. You have another defensive lineman in Rayshon Benny who's going to be an NFL player next year. They need to allow the talent to do the job, and that's up to Wink to adjust. So shout out to Mark with that stat. We got C+ here from GT for Lou Esposito. Got an A from Mike Fort, B- from Michael Newman, Detective Loki with the B+, Jay Marion, a B for the D-line coach. Yeah, Borge Warner, you're right. That Minnesota loss was pretty damn ugly. Beats and Treats with the B. Elijah Bowman here with the super chat. Wink gets an F+ simply because this personnel is what's helping him. That's facts. Not a scheme. I agree. I just said that. Yeah. Our defense on paper is a natty defense. 100%. This is 100%. And that was the whole point of hiring Sharon Moore, was to maintain the level of competitiveness on this team, not lose these players in the portal, because Michigan wanted to compete. Michigan wanted to contend next season, which is why we hired Sharon Moore, to maintain the culture, to transition the team, because you have another year with all these great players. We wanted to contend for the Big Ten. We wanted to make the college football playoffs, and we see the result. We see this team, and they do not look like the team we know. And that falls on the leaders, not the players. The leaders are the ones failing this team right now. My grade for defensive line is B. I give Lou Esposito a B. The reason why it's not an A is because there are times where The defense, in my opinion, does not do a good job of contain. I think it's leaky at times. I think our run defense has been questionable. I know the linebacker play has a lot to do with that, which is not Lou Esposito's responsibility. But at the same time, the defensive line, in my opinion, overshoots itself. I find it sometimes out of position. And I do know the first 4 games of the year, there was an issue, not an issue, but they were aware that players were playing. They were trying to play for others, doing more than their job responsibility entailed, and that was gashing them, which is why you saw what Texas did and some of the other teams, even Arkansas State. The defensive line was not playing to the level it should have, and that is on Lou Esposito. Now granted, the players were overcompensating and trying to, the talent, your star players are going to try and do more because they feel like it's their responsibility to step up. But at the end of the day, you have to do your responsibility, do your job, fill your gaps, and that is how a team wins. Period. I mean, you cannot have players doing more than they are asked, because that's how you have issues. That's how you have a leaky defense, and at times we have had that on our defensive line. The next coach I want to hit on is Brian Jean-Marie. I'd love to get your guys' grades on what you guys think Brian Jean-Marie, the linebackers coach for Michigan, should get. And thank you again, Elijah Bowen, for the super chat. We appreciate it. Yeah, it does. The defensive line does lack stunts and twists, but is that Lou Esposito or is that Wink Martindale? There is a lack of creativity on the defensive line in terms of applying pressure, which is extremely disappointing. Mike Fort, C+ for Brian Jean-Marie. Michael Newman, F by reputation. He actually has a pretty good reputation. Brian Jean-Marie actually has an excellent recruiting reputation. He used to be the recruiting director for Texas. He was the defensive coordinator for USF. He followed Charlie. He was with Charlie Strong at Louisville. Then he followed him to Texas, and then obviously followed him to USF. But then Brian Jean-Marie went on his own after Michigan went to Tennessee, and Tennessee was actually very fond of Brian Jean-Marie. GT here, Brian Jean-Marie. With the F from GT, F from Borge Warner, D-. Where is Cole Sullivan? You know what's funny about Cole Sullivan? He's playing on special teams and he's going to burn his red shirt, but they do not play him on the field. GT linebackers have been a huge disappointment. I'll agree. Dependent Fanatic, D+ because Houseman got a pick. Okay. We got Sneak here with the F. Couple Mike Fort, given his reason for his grade, he had a C+ earlier. He says a couple missed assignments, but not terrible. My grade for Brian Jean-Marie is a D. I think the defense has been absolutely awful. Now, granted, I will say the defense has been improving. I do think Ernest Hausman's playing a lot better. I actually think Jay-Sean Barnum's playing better. Actually, I know he is. I think his last game was his highest graded game by Pro Football Focus. But the pursuit angles, I don't understand. The missed tackles, that falls on coaching, guys, because last year, Houseman did not play like that. Houseman was actually a very sure tackler. We're seeing players. I will also say Jimmy Rolder has looked good, though. Jimmy Rolder has looked really good. He was injured last game, I believe. So, but yeah, I think Brian Jean-Marie at this point in the season, the way the team has played, especially in coverage, the linebackers have been burned in coverage. I'm giving him a D. I'm not impressed. I just think with the talent that's at linebacker with Houseman, Barham, Rolder, and Cole Sullivan, who they're not using. He has such a good room, and he's not doing what he should be doing with it. I agree, Borge. I would like to see Sullivan play more, and he doesn't. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You want to play Evan Link, but you don't play Cole Sullivan because of upside. Cole Sullivan has as much upside as almost anyone on the damn team, man. We got Michael Newman with the $2 super chat. Before I read the super chat, let me get your guys' grade on the next coach, Lamar Morgan. Let me know what you guys think Lamar Morgan's grade would be. He is the secondaries coach. He's on the back end. He coaches the DBs. Let me know what you guys think there. Michael Newman with the $2 super chat. Can't believe how much they talked about Barham, though. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I also talked to Barham from watching his tape, his Pro Football Focus grades. I mean, Pro Football Focus had him as the #1 graded linebacker last year. in the nation. They had him as, I believe, the top linebacker in the transfer portal. And then I also, watching Maryland, we all saw the way he played against JJ and Michigan last year against Maryland. When we played against Maryland, he looked really good. Barham was always a player who stood out on the field. This year, we don't see it. We don't see it at all. And, and then as you know, Michael Newman and everyone else watching, it was said out of camp that Jayshon Barham looks like the best linebacker Michigan has had since Devin Bush. That was said. And that's what they were thinking inside the halls of Schembecker Hall. So I don't know. That to me, that's a red flag. If you're thinking that and the way we're watching these, like, it's funny because like I've done some thinking. I was like, I've just like looked back on like the camp and I'm like, why were they so high on this team? And I think I know why. And the reason why they were so high on this team is because of course our defense looked good against this offense. Of course our corners were locking down these wide receivers. Of course our defensive line was beating this offensive line. There was no quarterback to threaten this defense. That's what they thought. They were better than they were. And what's crazy is the reports out of fall camp where they were like, oh, the offensive line's playing really well. Everyone's playing really well. Just right tackles a little up and down, which that's true. We do see that, but the offensive line has actually not been very good. It's been solid, but it's also been very leaky. Elijah Bone with the $1.99 super chat. Why did Michigan rehire him I know why. When 2020 was so horrible. All right, so this is a great super chat. I have also felt the same way. The reason why they hired him is because Sharon Moore wanted to hire a strong recruiting staff. Brian Jean-Marie is known in the recruiting world as a whale hunter. He lands big fish. He lands top 100 guys. He's the one who got us Junior Colson, if anyone remembers. He got us Junior Colson. He almost landed Brandon Jennings. Brandon Jennings flipped to Maryland. Brandon Jennings was a top 175 linebacker. If it was not for the 2 and 4 year in 2020, Brandon Jennings would have been a Michigan Wolverine. He probably regrets that. His younger brother's committed to our 26 class. I think his name is Braden Jennings. He's a corner out of Florida. But the reason why Brian Jean-Marie was hired is because Brian Jean-Marie is well-respected recruiting-wise. Although this year, unless he gets a Wasu Boateng, not looking too good. We'll see if he can pull it off. Dependent Fanatic with the F for Lamar Morgan. F as in F that guy. Elijah Bowman with the $1.99 super chat. He wasted Cam McGrone. Well, Cam McGrone wanted to go to the NFL. Cam McGrone, he should have stayed another year. But he, all the, Mayfield, the right tackle, he wanted to go to the NFL. Every player who wept early, Ambry Thomas, Cam McGrone, Mayfield, and Nico Collins. Nico Collins is the only one who really benefited. Really interesting decisions, but I get it. Like, you want to make money. I'm not mad. They weren't paying players then, right? So, I mean, if they were paying players, those players wouldn't have left when they left. Yeah, he is wasting Barham right now. I mean, yeah, no question. I mean, blame it on Wink and Brian Jean-Marie. They're both wasting these linebackers. Elijah Bone with the $1.99. I give Morgan a C+. He is a victim of Wink. No question. I mean, I agree with that. I mean, he's putting the secondary in such a vulnerable position, putting these guys on islands. Now, he probably thinks, well, I got Will Johnson. I got Jair Hill. I should have put these guys on islands. Jair Hill was a top 100 recruit. Will Johnson's like arguably the best corner in the nation. Like why can't I do this? But what he needs to realize is like, this is not like, even though these are top corners, there's really no defense doing this in college. Like, it's just not a recipe for success. Like, you're going to get caught. You're going to get bit. You need perfection from your defensive backs for this to work. And then on top of that, when you're doing coverage zero, you are leaving areas in the defense that are completely open. And if you have a quarterback who's solid, they're going to take advantage of it. So the grades that you guys had, Borge Warner with the F, we got a D from C4 for Lamar Morgan. I have for Lamar Morgan a D. I've given him a D. there's been moments where the secondaries look good, like Zeke Berry, Brandon Hillman. Jair Hill even had a great game against Minnesota. Was it Minnesota? I think it was Minnesota. Um, but I mean, up until last game, actually, Jair Hill and I know if Keegan's watching right now, he's gonna get mad at me. Pro Football Focus, because he's not the biggest fan of Pro Football Focus, but Pro Football Focus had Jair Hill and Will Johnson ranked 80 or above. They were the only cornerback duo in the nation ranked 80 or higher. And considering what Wink Martindale has done to this defense, that's actually pretty amazing in my opinion. It's pretty respectable. But at the same time, last game out the window. Looks like shit. Do better, be better. And then our next coach, I want your guys' grade. Although I'm gonna be honest, a lot of you may not even know we have. You guys might not even know this coach is on the staff. JB Brown, the special teams coach / safeties coach. Let me know what you guys think of JB Brown. And also let me know if you even knew JB Brown was on the staff. I'd like to know if you guys know who JB Brown even is. Michael Newman with the $5 super chat. College cornerbacks need help, even Will. There is no Darrelle Revis in college. I mean, really. I mean, Sauce Gardner was legit in college, and then my man from Toledo last year was legit. But even so, like, listen, there's a reason Alabama, who has the best athletes on the back end a lot of the time. LSU is known for its defensive backs. They don't play this style of defense, guys. Like, it is so dangerous. Like, it is so hard to play man as much as we do. And then not only play man, but also expose the defense with the pressures we're doing. There are more players receiving the ball than there are players in coverage. Is like that offensive line holds for just 3.5 seconds, we're effed. We're effed. Elijah Bowman. Is Wink just Don Brown that just runs more zone? Well, I mean, statistically, it's looking worse than Don Brown, except for 2020. 2020 was pretty shit. I mean, Wink is. There's a lot of similarities. There's at times though, like look at the USC game, like my man was it Michael Newman, or I'm sorry, who was it Mike Fort? Somebody, apologies if I don't remember. Somebody was like, oh well, you only blitz 23 or 27% of the time. Like, there are times where Wink Martindale shows to be a very competent defensive coordinator, very almost like he's playing chess at times, but then he just gets into his old habits, and it's just like, dude, how are you not learning? Like, I know you got these first round talents. Like, here's another thing too to think about, guys. Imagine Wink Martindale running this defense without Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, Will Johnson, and Josiah Stewart. Because then you don't got that talent, terrible. But beats, eats, and treats. We got the C for safeties, B for special team. Oh, I'm sorry. A CB for safety or for special teams, and a D for safeties. Borge Warner with the C. Detective Loki with the nicknames. That's Stink Martindale, not Wink Martindale. Okay. Yep. So my grade for JB Brown, and nobody told me if you guys knew who he was or not. Have a good night, Stephen Powers. My grade is a C. I also have a C. And the reason why I have a C is because, yes, special team is not abysmal. The punt coverage definitely has work to do. The punting, that's on Tommy Doman. Tommy Doman's been playing better, though. And then the safeties, although, I mean, damn, Makari Pages looked like shit, guys. Makari Pages he's regressed. Makari Page has regressed. So, yeah, not good. Not good. All right, guys. So here's our final grade. But you know what? No, actually, never mind. I was going to say, do we want to do Justin Tress? I didn't do Justin Tress, but, we shouldn't, because to be honest, we don't know. We don't know what's all involved with Justin Tress. But I will say, I think Justin Tress versus Coach Herbert, you see a difference on the field in terms of endurance, mentality. There does appear to be some difference with the team, and I think I think you could attribute some of that to the new strength and conditioning coach. But there's also a lot there that we don't know, a lot behind the scenes. So by all accounts, the players like Justin Trust. So let's go with our final coach, our last coach, Sharon Moore. Let me know what you guys think about Sharon Moore. If you guys had to grade, if you were the athletic director of Michigan and you had Sharon Moore in your office and you give out your yearly grades, what do you give Sharon Moore? I'm very curious on what you guys would give him at this point in the season. We got Mike Ford here with the D, Dependent Fanatic with a D. We got Detective Loki with the D, plus the bad hires are killing him. I mean, hey, bad hires included. Sharon Moore is the CEO. Marcus Ellis with the C plus. Borge Warner calling his shot. Watch us go out and smash Oregon, those frauds. C4, C, room for improvement, greatly expected. So C4 is holding out hope that the boys they get it together on the bye weekend and they become a better team. Doreen here, poor Harbaugh. Harbaugh took all the dudes. He did, Doreen, but it's got to be better. Doreen, let me ask you this, Doreen. Let me know in the comments. Would you be happy if Ohio State was performing at this level after, let's say, Ryan Day left, and then Ohio State had a year like our year, and they were performing like that? I want to know from you. Would you find it acceptable? Let me know. I'm curious. We got Sneak here, Laugh Out Loud D, Jay Marion, C minus, Scumbag Steve with the C minus. Lisa Sims is here. Oops. Lisa Sims, probably a C, but you guys really need a new AD. Yes, we do. A new head coach and a legit QB, then maybe we'll start improving. Well, we definitely need a new AD. Hopefully in 2025, we get a new one. And then head coach, unfortunately, I think we are stuck. I think we are stuck. I was reading Doreen's comment. I'll bring it up in a second. I think we are stuck with our head coach for at least 2 years. I mean, hopefully improve. I hope Sharon does, man. By all accounts, Sharon Moore is widely respected. A leader of men is what I've heard. The players love him. He's committed. Like, he's the type of guy who puts the work in. So I've heard nothing but good things about Sharon Moore. And then on the recruiting trail, Sharon was actually always one of our strongest recruiters. I want Sharon to succeed, but I'm just being honest with what I am looking at the data. I am looking at the results, and it's just frustrating. It's frustrating. We got Doreen here. No, not at all. See, Doreen would not be happy with the result. And that is where we are, Doreen. We are a frustrated fan base. Appreciate you watching and commenting with our community. Mark here. Hey, TJ, do you know where Wink Martindale was born? I do not, Mark. Let me know in the chat. Elijah Bowman, 499, a C. But if he goes 6-6, U of M needs to fire him. If you can fail this badly with this roster, then there is no telling what he would do with less. That is a concern. That's a concern that I have. And to be honest with you, if it was me, if I was athletic director of Michigan, I would get Connor Stallion's manifesto. I'm just kidding. If anyone saw his interview today, it was pretty interesting. Pretty good, actually. But anyways, off that topic. I would probably move on. I am concerned as well that we could find ourselves in another year next year that unless Michigan is extremely aggressive this offseason and they get the players they need to get in the portal. But I am concerned that next year could be a tough ass year, guys. You got to remember, this is the new Big Ten. This schedule does not get easy. Next year's schedule is not easy. Michigan has to capitalize this offseason, or it could be a really tough year. We're losing a lot of NFL talent, a national championship caliber talent. Like, in terms of the players we're losing, they are national championship caliber players. We're going to be losing a lot of them. Next year is a very big concern in the sense of reloading, and Sharon Moore is going to get a second year. And can he step up in his second year? Can the team be better? What coaches is he going to hire? And then how many, and here's something to think about. How many coaches are going to want to coach for Sharon Moore knowing that he may not have 3 years. He may not. If it's another bad year, and Michigan, here's the thing, guys. I already told you this. This is something to think about. Ward Manuel's contract is up in 2025. You get a new athletic director. Do you think he's going to not have his guy as the head coach? No, he's going to want his guy. If Sharon Moore is not getting the results that is expected at Michigan, they better hire an athletic director who demands that. I'll tell you right now, they better, and I think they will. I mean, I think Michigan's well aware that college football is in a new climate, and I think they will get a good guy for it. We'll see, though. They did a great job with Santono, so we'll give them the benefit of the doubt there. But yeah, no, I agree. I agree, Elijah. I think it's something we need to be mindful of. That's what I will say there. We need to be very mindful that we're going to be losing a lot of talent. Sharon's got to figure it out. He's got to figure it out. Okay, we got another one from Elijah Bowman. Elijah Bowman, 49. This offseason, we'll see how much U of M and more cares about football. Like, why would you give him a contract after losing to Texas like that? I agree. And I kind of, I hit on it in your last one, but the thing about the timing of that contract that's so interesting to me, what I think it was, is because it became public, the reality of the agreement that they had. And I think it was applying pressure on Michigan, the football team, regarding recruiting. Now, I don't know that. I have not had that confirmed to me, but here's what I do know. When you have a coach who has like a year or two left on his contract, that's not good for recruiting. Whenever there's not stability at the top of the team, it affects recruiting, and teams will use it to negatively recruit against you. And you better believe Penn State, James Franklin, who's is well known for his negative recruiting of Michigan, and other schools of the like. Notre Dame is another one that's very, very heavily negatively recruits Michigan. Like, so I think the pressure got to them because it became public knowledge and the media started picking up on it from all outlets. And I think it was becoming a question that Sharon Moore was getting tired of answering. I think it was getting the U of M was getting tired of answering, and they just made the contract official, showing their commitment to Sharon Moore, thus giving stability to the football team and the recruiting class of 2025. That's what I think it was. Now, we'll see. We'll see if it was a good decision or not. To be determined. We cannot draw conclusions just yet. Michael Newman here with the $5 super chat. C scared by the O-line play with tons of seniors. Playing Lincoln Edwards without merit is terrible. Needs more confidence. Scared to start Tuttle. I don't think they're scared to start Tuttle. I think actually that's who they want to start. I think the reality was Tuttle was hurt. He got hurt right before fall camp. He had an injury. He had a surgery done. And he had to heal up and get better. He's been better for a few weeks. Well, he's been improving for a few weeks. He was finally ready to play. Playing Link without merit is terrible. I agree. Edwards, he's at least productive. I think he is. I think Edwards should be on the field. I think Edwards is one of our best players offensively. He should be on the field, but Mullins needs to be RB1. And I think we're going to see, to your final thing there, I think we're going to see Tuttle a lot. Doreen with the question, Dave Portnoy will help with the bag, right? That's the word. And Dave Portnoy has actually been in contact with Sharon Moore personally. Sharon Moore said, hey, talk to this guy and get it done. So I feel that is moving in the right direction. I do think Dave Portnoy is going to step up because there's absolutely nobody who finds this season acceptable, because it's not. Elijah Bowman with the $1.99. If Michigan has 4 first rounders and goes 6-6, yeah, that's insane. That's the type of stuff you get fired for, but because it's your first year, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get another year, especially with a new athletic director. So, like, if we do get a new athletic director, it's not, I can't guarantee it, but if I had to bet money on it, I would. If you get a new athletic director, he's going to want a year of observation. He's going to want a year to see where everything is, get his feet down, find his balance, identify, strengths and weaknesses, what needs to improve, what needs to evolve. And Sharon Moore is going to get a year. So it'll be up to Sharon Moore to uh, it'll be up to Sharon Moore to make the most of it. So we'll find out what he can do. So for my grade, I don't know if I shared my grade with you guys yet on Sharon Moore. My grade for Sharon Moore is a D. It's not enough because we beat USC. If we did not beat USC, I'd probably be at an F. He's won the games we should win, except Washington. So that's one. Now it's up to him to win these other games that we should win. We should beat Illinois. We should beat Rutgers. Or I'm sorry, Indiana. They look good though. We should beat Michigan State. There is no excuse to not beat Michigan State. There's not. They're not. Michigan State has a solid, a very promising quarterback, but the team has a lot of issues. Elijah Bowman again with the 499 super chat. Our O linemen were actually high recruits, which is actually so confusing with the coaching. So our offensive line, Giovanni El-Hadi was a top 100 recruit. Miles Hinton was a 5-star. Josh Prevey, I don't think was a high recruit, but he was all Big Ten. Greg Crippen was the number 3 center coming out of the nation behind Raheem Anderson, who's sitting behind Crippen and Judice. And then Andrew Gentry was a top one. So he's a backup right tackle. He was a top 75 recruit, but he went on his Mormon mission. So there's that. Right guard. Well, no, Josh Prevey. Yeah. So yes, it should be better, guys. But the thing about offensive line is you have to have a lot of bodies because they don't all pan out. Like you have to stockpile the offense. And we do. Like, I actually think there's a lot of good youth coming up. I think last year's offensive line class was great. I think the year before that was pretty solid. But at the end of the day, you have to be when you have a hole at right tackle, like if they landed a very good portal offensive lineman at right tackle, then this offensive line would look. If Michigan, here's the reality, guys. If we landed a good quarterback, if we got Rourke, who Indiana has, if we got Rourke, right, or my man from Washington, Will Rogers, right? If we got him, if we got one of them, right, we'd be good at quarterback. You go get a stud wide receiver to pair with Colson Loveland, Khalil Mullins, and Donovan Edwards, right? And then you get a right tackle. This team's a playoff team. We're 3 players away at a high level, 3 high-level players away from a playoff team. That's how much of this they botched it. They wasted it. Their arrogance got the best of them, is what happened. They misread it. They totally miscalculated the reality of our roster. Elijah Bowman here with the $1.99. If we lose to MSU and go 5-7, do they keep more? Ooh. Well, I'll tell you what, my pitchforks are out. I'll tell you right now, I don't know. I unfortunately, so I'll tell you what I would do is no, but what I think will happen is yes. I think they will. Elijah, I know, I can tell you don't want it to happen. I can tell you would like Michigan to find the next guy. I feel like your trust and confidence in Sharon is down. But I hate to say it. I do think if we lost MSU and we did go 5-7, I think because they just gave him that 5-year deal, they're not going to let him go after 1 year. I just don't think they would. I think they would give him 1 more year. And I know what is the ramifications of that. What if you have 2 down years in a row? What does that do to a program? It's devastating. Now, the good news is it's the NIL era. It's the portal era. You can fix it quick. You could probably fix it in a good year to 2 years, a good 2 years. You really turn a program around, but with the right coach, like Signetti down in Indiana, that's a good coach. But yeah, we're looking at a potential dangerous situation for the program if it's not handled properly. If they do not handle this accordingly, and Sharon Moore does not do what he needs to do, we could look at a very dangerous era, possibly. I don't want to go there yet because it's not there yet. We still have a lot to see. Let's see how the team does out of bye week. We're as one of our commenters said, we're in a week-to-week outlook right now. Now, it doesn't hurt to look ahead. Like, you should always have your eye on the horizon, but one step at a time. Let's see what we do after the bye week. We'll go from there. And as you guys know, our show, we are going to give you our honest opinion on where we are, where we stand, and we'll get through it together, guys. Ramez here with the $2 super chat. I apologize for defending Sharon and Link. Do not apologize, man. Listen. I was Team Orgy, so we all took some L's on some of this. I mean, honestly, I was Team Portal quarterback, but after they decided not to get a Portal quarterback, I was Team Orgy. It is what it is, man. I mean, Sharon, the book is still being written, so we're not going to close the book on Sharon Moore. So it is what it is. But all right, guys. So that is all of my grades for the show. Those are my 3 topics. We did almost 2 hours without John. That's crazy. I didn't even anticipate that. I was thinking we'd do like maybe an hour. I was thinking maybe 45 minutes to an hour, but we went almost 2 hours because of you guys. So shout out to you. Shout out to Wolverine Nation, best community at the Voice of College Football, as well as the Michigan Sphere, possibly. So again, shout out to you guys. Thank you for being a part of it. I greatly appreciate it. And we will be doing a call-in show on Thursday. So as you guys know, it's a bye week. We have no post game. Let me look at who I have as my guest this week. Let me bring it up. I think I know who it is, but I want to make sure. So my guest this week for the Thursday call-in show is going to be my man 3M, Maze Madman. Maze Madman is joining me on Thursday to do the call-in show with you guys. We are going to talk about the state of Michigan, or, the state of the University of Michigan, and what he thinks. I'd like to get his perspective on what he's seeing, what he's thinking about the program. We'll dig into that, and then obviously we will take the calls from you guys. So again, I was gonna say, so my man Sneak here, shout out to me. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys. You guys make the show. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I mean, you guys make the show go so smooth and so well. This was a team effort today. I got a lot of feedback from you guys. John was not here to be my co-pilot. You guys were my co-pilot. I greatly appreciate it. Lisa's new here. I haven't seen Lisa around. Shout out to Lisa. I believe she's a Buckeye fan though, and that's okay. We have some good Buckeyes around here. All right, guys, until Thursday, I will see you guys Thursday. Stay tuned for that. Again, if you guys are unable to watch the show, check us out on audio. We're on all your audio podcasts. Give us a subscribe, give us a follow, rate us, give us a review. We'd greatly appreciate that. It means a lot to us. Also, if you are not subscribed, please subscribe. Please like the video. Please share the video. Let your friends know the deal. And we'll keep bringing that heat. So until next time, guys, as you guys know, it is always go blue.